consume literature from an oppressed people, because it's depressing to read. And most people, especially those who are not doing well in their lives, why would they want to read that? And as a matter of fact, additionally, those who are doing well in their lives, why would they want to read that? The life is already as depressing as it gets. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Life is just depressing. There's no amount of money in the world that'll fix the most important problems, family quarrels, autoimmune diseases. So obviously you don't want to look at more oppression. Me, I have a problem mentally. All right, we're going into the second claim. We'll just jump right into it, I suppose, because why not? Again, first claim kind of went nowhere, which was to be expected, I guess, if you were to bet the farm. But the second one is as follows. Hopefully, my hope for this second claim, second segment, whatever you want to call it, is that we can reach a better conclusion.
My next claim is, unless you're a billionaire, a religious fundamentalist, or a xenophobic nationalist, voting for Trump was a mistake.
Billionaire, religious fundamentalist, or xenophobic nationalist.
Okay, so let's tackle one aspect, religious fundamentalists. What benefit would religious fundamentalists get? And also, can you define what is a religious fundamentalist?
And maybe you could say more of like a Christian nationalist.
Okay.
In this instance. But things like, the attacks on trans folks, the attacks on a woman's right to choose, the idea that we're going to get stuff like an enhanced RFRA, which is going to mean that if you're a pharmacist and you don't want to provide birth control, you may not have to.
Don't you think you're assuming that
if you believe that public education, we should take that money and pour it into religious schools, you're gonna get a benefit out of a Trump administration.
Yeah, but don't you think you're assuming that the vast majority of Americans who are moderates?
Like, what do you think you're gonna get out of the Trump administration?
Is this wearing the same
economic
glasses?
relief?
No.
That was
what kind of economic relief? They're gonna cut Social Security. You're gonna have to pay for your parents. They're gonna cut when they go after the agencies like they're going after, right? This is outlined in Project 2025. Russ Vought, who's going to be the OMB head, he was the OMB head the first time around. He wrote all the book on this stuff.
Okay, well, you bring up Project 2025.
When you cut agencies and go after them, and you fire all the inspector generals so that they're not being able to make sure that the agencies are working, who do you think profits from that? It's corporations. They're going to go after agencies that make sure your food is not full of botulism, that your air is not full of mercury, that your water is not full of C8. This is what they're going to do. Agencies exist to curb corporations from externalizing their costs and privatizing their profits. So it may be cheaper for a company to dump their chemicals into a river than it is for them to dispose of it in a safe way. And so they get the profits from that, but the costs are borne by society. They're borne by society in the form of like people get cancer. They're borne by society in terms of like we've got to do the cleanup. That's what agencies do.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
That's good.
What was...
Hey. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so I would like to touch on the religious fundamentalist aspect.
Yeah.
Are you an atheist?
I'm a Reformed Jew. I don't have a strong belief in the existence of God, but I don't think that religion in and of itself is bad.
Okay, so what's wrong with religious fundamentalists? So like when you said trans rights and women's rights or something like that?
Well, the problem I have with religious fundamentalists, and really more, I guess it's really theocrats, is that they want to impose their morality that comes from their religion on the rest of us, and I don't.
But morality, from your view, is going to be a preference, right? It's not morality; it's a preference. So morality without a foundation is going to reduce you to a preference.
Well, I have a foundation for my morality.
Which is what?
It's a humanist vision of what basically creates as little suffering as possible for as many people.
Okay, so you're like a consequentialist? Utilitarian?
I don't really bother myself with being a consequentialist or a utilitarian.
It's always going to reduce you to a preference. So if you say that killing is wrong and I say it's right, you would really have no contention with that.
Well, no, I don't base my understanding of civil society on religion. And so we have a civil society.
Okay.
We have laws that we have decided as a society in a democratic way. And for some people, it's okay for it to be informed by their religion. That's okay.
Okay, perfect. So if tomorrow society comes together and we say, hey, trans folks don't deserve rights, you would be okay with that?
No, I would be against it, but I mean it would be.
It would be morally right under your
not
view.
morally right. No. I'm not talking about morals.
Okay,
here.
so here's where I'm getting to, right? Religious foundations provide an ethical framework for one to live their life off of.
I believe you can have an ethical framework without religion.
And if we take the leftist view to its logical tail end, to its extreme view, you have low reproductive birth rates. You have a reproductive dead end, so two men together can't reproduce unless they have to take from a healthy straight couple. Religion provides this foundation where you do prioritize the nuclear.
The problem with this argument is that, you know, there are who's to argue that, you know, a female that also has the inability to reproduce due to, you know, reproductive issues, and a male that are in love with each other and want to get married, you know, are they also not allowed to get married based under, you know, like your understanding of whatever religion you follow?
So do you have a problem with gay people being married?
It's not that I have a problem. I just don't see a justification for why they ought to be gay outside of it just feels good.
Okay, but like, what about a justification for a female and a male who get married and either don't want to reproduce or can't reproduce due to biological issues? They're just getting married, I guess, because you could argue it feels good. If there isn't a problem, what I'm trying to say is that there isn't a problem there shouldn't be a problem with two men that love each other, you know, consenting into marriage. The only problem is that whoever wrote the Bible back in the day put that little line there where a man laying with another man is, quote, an abomination.
Can you give me another justification for it?
Well, I think maybe that's the way they were born.
Okay, what about pedophiles? Are they born that way?
They may be, yeah.
Okay, so should we let a pedophile off the hook since they were born that way?
No, I think we as a society has decided...
Should implement duties to prevent them from acting on that innate urge, correct?
Well, I think between consent...
But now, you see, you're mixing a child's consent with an adult's consent. I don't see... You've introduced... I didn't realize that we were talking about an underage male marrying an adult male.
Adults, it's a different thing than...
Okay,
than
so you're okay
preying
with
on
a
children.
45-year-old dad with a 19-year-old daughter as well? Incest.
No.
If they consent, you're okay with that?
No, I think society has also determined that it's like it's not beneficial.
Right, there's duties and obligations that we have, so religion provides those duties. Life isn't about freedom and exercising what you want.
I will say the incest thing is an interesting point that he's making.
I mean, well, you want to impose...
I don't know, maybe I'm stupid for saying that, or maybe like that's dumb, but if... I know that there are higher biological concerns for a female and a male of the same, I guess, blood lineage, for lack of a better word. I can't help... Okay, this is so stupid, but... Whenever this incest discussion comes up, I can't help but think of Diamond Donnie Azolf or whatever from fucking Wolf of Wall Street, where it was like Diamond Donnie Azolf, where like he you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Slept with his cousin and had 2 kids, and they were having that stupid conversation about what would happen if they turned out, you know, mentally challenged.
Then there were these rumors. I heard some stupid shit. I don't know. Okay, I didn't even want to bring it up. It's just that's stupid.
Shit with me?
You know, just people say shit. I don't even know. I don't even listen to it half the time.
What did I say?
That's shit about you and your cousin or something like that. I don't even listen to it. It doesn't even...
Oh, it's not like that. You know? It's not like that.
You know what I mean? Like you married your cousin or some stupid shit, you know?
Yeah, my wife, my wife is my cousin or whatever, but it's not like what you think, whatever, you know?
Is she like a first cousin or is she?
Yeah, no, she, her father is the brother of my mom. Mm-hmm. It's not like, look, we grew up together, and she grew up hot, she fucking grew up hot, and all my friends were trying to fuck, and I'm not gonna let someone, one of these assholes fuck my cousin, so, I use the cousin thing as like an in with her. I'm not gonna let someone else fuck my cousin, if anyone's gonna fuck my cousin, it's gonna be me out of respect,
No, I get it, yeah. I mean, you're not afraid of like the whole kid thing, right? Like the whole...
having kids with her?
Yeah.
No, we have 2 kids.
And they're... I don't want to get personal or anything. They're okay.
No, they're not retarded or anything like that.
But there's a big chance, right?
Yeah, there's like a 60%, 60 to 65% chance the kid's gonna be fucking retarded or whatever.
That scared the shit out of me, buddy.
Look, man, a lot of having a kid or whatever takes risks, whether you're fucking cousins or not.
What if something like that happened?
Basically, if the kid was retarded, I would, drive it up to the country and just like, open the door and let it say, you're free now, like run free,
And the incest one is a tough one. I'm not going to fixate on it right now, but that's an interesting point that guy is making.
Impose your religious doctrine
No,
on me,
because
and I don't want that.
you just admitted we need duties. We have responsibility as a society to keep us functioning, to keep us thriving. Your leftist view, the liberal view, doesn't provide anything besides.
But again, the incest point. Now we're getting away from. Now we're like totally removed from the point at the beginning, where it's like, unless you're a billionaire, religious fundamentalist, or a xenophobic nationalist, voting for Trump was a mistake. But when you find yourself on such large of a tangent, arguing so far away from the initial point, you can't help but wonder if, like,
It just makes me.
the point that's being argued to begin with is, valid.
Religion
Or
does.
has majority validation.
So what's your argument?
What's my argument as to why I don't want
You have no
your
contention.
religion to... Well, because first of all, I don't think that you have the right to corner what God is telling us is right or wrong. And there are differences between religions. And so my argument is, like, you're not going to keep halal or kosher, right? I mean, I don't believe that someone has a corner on religious truth. And the reason why we have a democracy is because we didn't want a king. And the kings came from the idea that their God said that they're the ones who's supposed to be king. And so we can disagree on this. I don't want to live in a country that is ruled by religious fundamentalism.
And if I do, you have no issue with that.
And no. And this is why I say, under Trump, yes, you have won.
Yes.
You have a
Only
bunch
male
of
and
Christian.
female. You're right.
You have a
You
Christian
won.
nationalist,
Yes, which is necessary.
And so I concede the point that under Trump, your Christian nationalism has gained an advantage under this.
Sorry, we're going to have more kids. We're going to have less abortions. We're going to have more family. We're going to have stable family households.
I'll keep it simple. We have a population problem. We don't need more. It's already too much. We have a population problem. Like, guaranteed there's a population problem. I will never understand the, in this day and age with, I don't know how many billion, I want to say 8 billion people on the planet right now. I don't understand. Hey, Neo, how's it going? How, oh God, my head's hurting. How somebody, you know what I think the problem is? Like, in big cities, I find that, urban, what's the word I'm looking for? The reduction of urban sprawl in big cities is very heavily argued against for. It's always, how can we hold and sustain the population that we currently have? Which, maybe, I guess, better for the greater good, but like as an individual currently subject to an overflow of population in a big city, Toronto, I gotta tell you, it fucking sucks. It sucks, because the problem with these large cities, a lot of people will argue, oh, like, just move. The issue with that is that certain people, myself included, have family ties, and they want to be close to those they love and respect, or as close as possible. So that may make it difficult for somebody to just leave the city. And additionally, people that require certain health care, and people that also value education and want good education, which I would assume is the majority of the population, that can be found in larger cities. So it's a huge trade-off, and so I would just love if we could not worry so much about perfecting certain cities and spread wealth, which I guess maybe you could say it happens already, but it's very difficult for the average Canadian, I guess. I imagine it's the same for the average American as well, where in a large city, you're subject to noise, lack of space, lack of activity facilities. It's tough. It can be tough. Lack of organization for such flooded areas, it can take a toll for sure. It can take a toll for sure, especially as someone that grew up in a larger space and, you know, has had to reduce their space for affordability reasons in order to go out on their own and experience, you know, the pressures of the world. It's
sorry about better education.
People,
anyways,
gay people should be outlawed.
They should be straight. They should be
Women should be secondary to their husbands.
This guy is just...
Women should submit to the husbands.
Women
that doesn't mean they are
husbands.
slaves.
Right,
it doesn't mean they are slaves. It means they are protected. Okay, let me ask you that. Let me ask you.
No.
Should women be drafted? Should women be drafted?
Listen, I think
if they're equal, should they be drafted?
I think this is
Yeah,
the
why
vision
not?
that you have, and I think Trump supports
What,
it.
a woman
I
can't
think
hold
the
a gun all of a
Christian
sudden?
nationalists he has throughout his government are all going to work towards...
Are you telling me that if you were, let's say you were going to 2v2 in a fight, okay? You were going up against the Tate brothers, fuck it, okay?
towards your
And you
vision.
had a choice
And my hope is that when people look at this,
between fighting with this guy or Ronda Rousey. Would you pick him or would you pick Ronda Rousey to fight in the octagon against the Tate brothers?
Drafted.
listen, I think...
If they're equal, should they be drafted?
I think this is the vision that you have, and I think Trump supports it.
Yes.
I think the Christian nationalists he has throughout his government are all...
Here's a better one. If you were to go to war, or actually, I could learn pretty quickly. I was going to say, would you pick the average American female who's probably held a gun before and knows how to shoot it? Or would you pick me, a sad little Canadian who honestly doesn't know where the safety is on a pistol and I've never shot a gun before? So would you take the risk? Like...
all going to work towards your vision.
Yes.
And my hope is that when people look at this, they say, hey, wait a second, I don't want
Actually, that's a lie. I have shot a shotty before, but the thing's hella easy to use.
my life to be dictated
Oh, God,
by
this is hurting
the
my head.
notion of a Christian nationalist prescription. Now, you may win out. I mean, certainly, like if you look at a country like Iran, they have a theocracy there, and apparently that's, you know, good for them if they want it.
My final point is whenever
but
we
I don't want to live in a
My final point is
theocracy.
whenever we see people live out Christian values to its full extent, we see a great society. When we see people deviate from that, that's where all the problems arise.
Bro, are you sure about that? That's a wild take. If we decide to align ourselves with Christian values, we always see a quote, great society.
All right,
I
pause.
think you are at home in the Trump. Trump.
Thank you very much.
You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Yeah, that guy will never be living his best life like he is now.
Sorry, guys. I think I have an issue with the implications of the prompt. I mean, of course, I'll stick on the religious fundamentalism. I think it's unfair to view Christianity separated from the ideology that Christianity informs, right? You have an ideology that you vote upon because you view it to be the truth that benefits everyone in a society. That's how a democracy works. I, as a Christian, have an ideology that informs my opinions, and I believe that it is the most moral and correct way for a society to function. So I think if
by the way, I really like what this guy said earlier. You can live a morally good life without following religious scripture. It's not one or the other. You know what I mean? What's the word? They're not codependent.
put religious fundamentalism in a box where you say any
I don't know why
moral
some people
implications that I
don't
draw from this,
understand that.
religion is unable to be.
I think people that see, quote, evil atheists assume that the problem isn't just that they have a poor moral compass, but also that they didn't follow in God's footsteps. That's not it. They just have a bad moral compass. Religion has nothing to do with it.
Voted upon, unable to be pushed onto you because simply it's a religion is unfair.
Maybe religion can help fix that moral compass, or I guess put that moral compass in check if that's what you're looking for. But the absence of religion doesn't equate to evil human being that should go to hell.
Fair to view it that way. Religion is an ideology like all ideologies are. You know, it's you vote away.
I don't mind you. I don't dispute the idea that you could have a religious ideology and want to see it imposed upon others, and it's not inconsistent with my claim. My claim is that Donald Trump is ushering in an element of Christian theocracy that you know, I can't remember his name, and you may be excited about, but I'm not excited about it. I don't think the vast majority of Americans are, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I don't think this country was set up to be a theocracy, and I find it problematic that it will be, but others will be happy about it.
I think it's unfair as well to label any morals that comes from religion inherently immediately theocratic. Like having a theocracy is something different than having.
I think love thy neighbor is a good precept, and I don't know that we should necessarily legislate it, but I think it's a good precept. I think there are things from religion that are good.
What does that mean, legislate? Legislate, make or enact. Love thy neighbor. Oh, okay. So enact as law. To legislate it is to enact as law.
I interviewed Desmond Tutu.
Damn it, I thought politics would be done by now. Sorry for the late response. Yeah, not yet.
Years ago.
We're still in the thick of it.
Religion can be, you know, is like a knife. It can be used to spread butter or it could be used to stab people. But that doesn't mean that I want religious doctrine to be the same as the law of the land. We have a democracy, and it was founded on trying to get out from some type of like religious oppression, which means one religion shouldn't dominate in this country. That's my sense.
Yeah, and I see that, but I think I have an issue with where you would perceive religious doctrine is derived from, right? A guy doesn't, at least in Christianity, a guy doesn't go in a room and come out and say that he is a secret message from God that everyone now has to follow. Religious doctrine is ruled over, it's reasoned over, the same way any ideology is discovered.
I'm not talking about the validity of religious doctrine. I'm talking about religious doctrine supplanting democracy and civil society.
And I'm saying that religious doctrine is democratic inherently, and in the way that you.
Well, I mean, look, we can have a debate as to whether or not women should be subservient to men. I don't think they should be, and in a democracy, I don't think it's healthy.
Right, but when you said earlier with him that someone shouldn't have I don't know the exact word, like a chokehold on what is, you know, religious truth and what isn't religious truth. That's not how religious truth itself works, and that's not how religious truth is brought to the political table to have that work either, right?
I don't know. When Pete Hegseth is in a bar yelling, you know, we're going to kill all Muslims.
Well, that's,
I mean, well, yeah, but now he's in charge of the largest military in the history of the world. I think, and he's informed by his Christian
That's just Pete Hegseth. He's just, you know, he's just a silly guy. You know?
I think
he says things sometimes, you know, alcohol. It does stuff. What are you going to do?
It's a problem.
Right. Well, but
we can disagree on that.
Yeah, we don't take...
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Thanks, so.
That guy didn't get much chance.
Okay, so Eleazar mentioned his views
Do they know each other?
Gay marriage, and I saw that you believe that essentially conservatives don't believe that gay marriage should be allowed. I want to ask everybody in this room, is there any law or legislation that Donald Trump has passed to prohibit same-sex marriage in the last 4 years? Okay. Is there anyone in here who would potentially oppose two people kissing in public that are of the same sex? You could raise your hand if you want. Yes, in public, kissing in public. No law against it. Just your own opinion. Okay, so these are all people's opinions, right? The same way you have your opinions about Christians is the same way these people are allowed.
No, I don't have a problem with Christians.
Well, you do not believe that theology should be at its
We should not have a theocracy.
Correct. And so what I'm saying is, I think that Christianity. I'm a Catholic. I think that Christianity is, fundamentally very important to instill family values in myself as well as every person who wants to have children. Now let's talk about...
I'm okay with that too.
Let's talk about Order 14,166. That is an executive order that Donald Trump just imposed on identifying what is male and female. So I personally believe, as well as many transsexuals, friends of mine, believe that a woman is a biological female, as well as a man being a biological male. You are assigned what you are at birth. You are not assigned your gender later on. What you choose to express is something that is similar to wearing a garment, similar to what you decide to put on your face. And
Is this person having a gender identity crisis? Am I tripping balls right now, or is this person having a gender identity crisis in his life right now? I think this person is having a gender identity crisis.
And I don't think there should be laws or legislations dictating people or imposing laws.
And I think the reason why he's arguing with this man is to figure out, okay,
Laws to manipulate children, for example, to castrate their bodies at such a young age. 50% of
Do
children...
you know how many children are treated over the past 5 years? Let's say, I think it was from 2018 to 22, there was a study that just came out from Harvard. Do you know how many children received gender-affirming care, but broken down into puberty blockers and then hormones?
Give me the numbers.
You tell me. I'm curious.
Well,
because
I'm curious because you're bringing it up.
No, I have the numbers.
Okay, tell me.
I do, but
Tell
I'm
me.
curious if you know.
Tell me what the
I
numbers are.
promise to tell you after you tell me what you think it is.
I'm not gonna play that game.
Because I have a feeling
We're not
you
playing this
think it's-
game.
No, I am playing this game because
Why?
I think you think it's much higher. When you tell me that kids are being castrated, I know you don't really know what these numbers are. And I do know these numbers.
Okay, well, I can tell you this much.
What?
It was reported that scientifically every single child who has received gender-affirming care, about roughly 50% of them regret it. And 50% of them are suicidal because of it.
Okay, fact check. Studies on this subject often suffer from researcher bias and methodological errors, including inadequate follow-up, imprecise measurement, and poorly chosen sample bit. Doctors agree more research is needed.
They're actually more depressed because of it.
How many of those kids? How many?
A psychologist,
How
by the
many
way...
over the course of 5 years?
Well, tell me.
Yo, the guy...
Are suicidal because of it. They're actually more depressed because of it.
How many of those kids? How many?
A psychologist,
How
by the
many
way...
over the course of 5 years?
Well, tell me.
You tell me.
The guy in the back is very agitated.
You're trying to put me in this chokehold of like,
No, I'm
I
not trying to
gotcha
put you in a
moment.
No, this is definitely an I gotcha
No.
moment because I'm suggesting to you that you think this problem is much bigger than it is.
It is a huge problem.
Okay.
Medi-Cal, you know, Medi-Cal covers inmate trans women.
I understand that, yes. And I know one person has had that surgery.
I don't understand how my taxes should go for an inmate prisoner who wants to transition.
Well, I think because we got to do health care for prisoners, and you don't consider it real health care. But hold on, I don't want to get...
imposed $2.6 billion
it's
in
900 kids over 5 years.
That is a lot of children.
Puberty blockers.
That is a lot of children.
900 kids over real health care. But hold on, I don't want to get...
imposed $2.6 billion
It's
in
900 kids over 5 years.
That is a lot of children. Who wants to transition?
Well, I think because we got to do health care for prisoners, and you don't consider it real health care. But hold on, I don't want to get...
imposed $2.6 billion
it's
in
900 kids over 5 years.
That is a lot of children.
Puberty blockers.
That is a lot of children.
900
AB
kids over 5 years.
547 just passed, including gender identity to allow children to be separated from their parents just due to not affirming their gender identity.
But here's the point. Listen, Trump is, how is he hurt?
Data compiled by Reuters and the health technology company Komodo found that from 2017 to 2021, 4,780 adolescents started puberty blockers and had a gender dysphoria diagnosis. A new study from JAMA Pediatrics found that only 0.1% of young patients in the study were transgender and prescribed puberty blockers or hormone therapy.
Hurting these people?
Oh, 4,780 adolescents started puberty blockers and had a gender. Interesting.
He just rescinded the ability of the Labor Bureau. Is he hurting?
Where's the study from, though? Oh, sorry, Reuters.
These people, he just rescinded the ability of the Labor Bureau to investigate discrimination in workplace. Are you for trans people being discriminated in workplace?
They're never being discriminated.
Are
Hold on.
you for trans people being discriminated with
I'm
housing?
very passionate about that question, and can I answer it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I believe that affirmative action should be...
It's not affirmative action.
Oh, then what is it?
It's anti-discrimination. It's
Okay,
not saying that you have to
regardless,
hire
hold on.
trans people.
Okay,
It's
well,
saying
hold on.
you can't fire someone when you find out they're trans.
Okay, well, hold on a minute. So when you hire someone or when you interview someone, for example, you are supposed to interview them based on their knowledge and their work ethic, not based on sex.
I'm not saying affirmative
not based
action.
on their sexual
Are
orientation.
you allowed to fire them if you find out they're trans?
If you need if you need to, then you should. If you need to, then you should.
So we have a disagreement.
All right,
I don't
pause.
believe people should be discriminated against.
Pause.
And that's not discrimination. It's based on your knowledge, not what you sleep with, not who you sleep with. Just saying.
Wow.
Hi.
Sam.
So I actually think that this liberal world order needs to be thrown away completely, and I think Christian nationalism would be a good alternative. What we're seeing right now is
And
just
congratulations.
Yeah. And thank you. And yeah, I think what we're seeing right now is a culture of death.
This woman is around. You could tell she's feisty, and she's been sitting. She's been sitting patiently for 40 minutes. So wow.
This is the most suicidal generation ever.
She already started strong, so
thank you. And yeah, I think
this guy also. I hope he gets a chance to speak because he needs it. He needs it.
it is a culture of death. This is the most suicidal generation ever. We have millions of children dying by abortion. People aren't even reproducing. We don't even have like a.
Should we mandate people reproduce?
No, I don't think we need to mandate. We can just stop them from killing their kids.
Oh God.
You want to outlaw abortion?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we have a fundamental disagreement on this, and my claim was that if you voted for Trump, it would be to your benefit if you want to outlaw abortion.
I think it would benefit everyone.
Oh man.
Yeah, I disagree.
I mean, obviously, the wrong part of my mind thinks that some of the victims that have suffered from sexual abuse who got an abortion, I would love for her to tell that to them, but I think this girl is just too lost in the sauce to even care.
I think that that women should have the right to choose.
I think that it would benefit everyone to bring back the family unit, to stop having women just...
The family unit, what if the... Okay, no, never mind. Let him talk.
Maybe we shouldn't allow women to choose to divorce unless their husbands say it's okay.
I mean, I don't really believe in divorce in general, so, like, sure.
All right. I mean, this
okay.
I think,
This
though,
girl-
reinforces my
Damn, I
point
thought-
that if you are
But it would be better for society. It would be better for everybody in society. And same with xenophobic national. Like, what's the problem with...
My wife who has autoimmune and it might kill her. Oh, yeah. Like...
xenophobic nationalism? Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
Like the thing is, I think these poor people, they haven't like, I don't know. They've just been subject to whatever their parents or their family has told her, and these people, I guess one of the problems is they have very close circles. Like, maybe she's also surrounded by a bunch of like yes men and yes women that like, if you don't agree with me, there's no point in even bothering to listen.
Xenophobic nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which, do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on
culture?
European and Christian values and identity.
Bro. Holy shit. As somebody, as a born Romanian citizen, I would specify which dominant European culture you want to keep and which one you don't. Because I gotta tell you something, Romania ain't all that.
That is the dominant culture.
White
It's
Christian-
rooted in European identity.
White. So your argument is
That has been the dominant culture.
I genuinely think the problem with her is she lives in a country, United States, where white is right, if you want to use that because it rhymes, was very much the thing back in the day, you know? Like it was a United States has a history of like white domination, and they also have a history of abusing races that they deem lower to them. Muslim races, Hispanic races, black races. I don't know if those are all races, and now she is being told that it used to be better back in the day because obviously she would have succeeded in that culture back in the day without any not remorse, empathy for, and part of the problem is history, the majority of history is retold by, quote, the winners. It's very hard to find, A, to find literature, and B, to consume literature from an oppressed people, because it's fucking depressing to read. And most people, especially those who are not doing well in their lives, why would they want to read that? And as a matter of fact, additionally, those who are doing well in their lives, why would they want to read that? The life is already as depressing as it gets. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Life is just depressing. There's no amount of money in the world that'll fix the most important problems, you know, family quarrels, autoimmune diseases. So obviously you don't want to look at more oppression. Me, I have a problem mentally. I enjoy educating myself on those matters to understand how the oppressed have felt and how to, you know, see if we can make it better from everybody. But who wants to read that shit?
Just to be clear,
I'm British and we already tried to give the world one culture and even the Americans disagreed. Bro, but even before your time, like, yeah, it doesn't work. Germany tried it. Who else tried it? Spain tried it when they came over, when Columbus founded America. The French tried it. You need to have balance and you need to be accepting of different world ideologies. And I think what this guy was trying to say, Sam Cedar, is in the largest like groups, government agencies and stuff like that, the largest and most powerful, you have to have individuals within those agencies that are representative of different people. And if you have to force different representation, then I guess that's what you got to do. Because if you leave it up to, quote, the white Christian man to decide, we've already seen the Anglo-Saxon or whatever the fuck it's called. We've already seen that, you know? It didn't work. It didn't work.
We're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you should keep your culture, and this is why our culture's so divided.
Your argument is that Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in Europe.
Look, honestly, I can't blame her. You know, I know this is such a dickish thing to say, but she thinks her system works for her, so it should work for everyone else. Yeah, there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who, you know, are limited with empathy. I don't know why. That's something that I hope researchers can, you know, resolve over time. But how can you blame somebody that's limited with empathy, has probably been hurt many times in the past, bullied, whether it be from parents or in school or by the work environment that she was working in, and then not want a system that works for you? Everybody just wants to feel safe. And for some odd reason, she feels attacked, but the fucking solution isn't you attack other people. It doesn't matter if you attacking other people makes you feel more safe. You don't do that. You don't do that because that's been done before and it never works out. It just doesn't.
European identity and Christian values. That's what it has been. Would you really disagree with that? What is it then if that's not the identity of America?
Well, I think the identity of
For the
America,
majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah, maybe since like the 1960s. Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting means?
No, it doesn't
and
mean
now instead we're saying there's something wrong with xenophobia.
Culture. No. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. You and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice.
I don't know about never.
I think what you're
I don't know about never.
expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. And I think that's
I disagree. I don't think Trump's anywhere close to being a Christian
I don't know. I don't want to
nationalist. That's
nitpick on
ridiculous.
that.
Trump's basically a Democrat from 15 years ago when it comes to social
So you don't think that he's conservative enough for you?
Oh, definitely. Nowhere close. No.
He's not xenophobic enough for you?
Look, to be fair to what she just said, if you believe Trump for his word at face value, or if you just woke up from a coma yesterday and maybe I played you, I don't know, 10 hours of Fox News, I could see where she's coming from.
No, he's trying to pour a bunch of H-1Bs. Are you kidding?
Right. Oh, so you want to get them out too? Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're making my argument for me.
All right.
Well,
okay.
I'm just saying he's not even in this.
My next claim is the GOP will...
Okay, that ends it there. An interesting... Oh my god. This took 40 minutes? Claim 2 took 40 minutes. Yikes. Dr. Vimes, welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker. Thank you for the follow. Very much appreciated. I hope you know who Filthy Frank is, otherwise that's going to be very awkward. I'm going to stop this one, and we'll move on to the next.